Raw talking Ikey Raw in the morning.
Morning, how are you, Ikey?
Hey, I'm good. I'm good. It's my guy David O. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I was just sitting here talking to the people, just letting the people know that we got Democrats with David O. as well. I just wanted you to fill the people in on your agenda and what you got planned for the city once you become the new mayor of Philadelphia.
All right. Well, the mayor of Philadelphia is really got to be a mayor for everybody, for all people. And the city, consisting of so many diverse people, different people, neighborhoods, communities, but the city, in terms of registered voter, is overwhelmingly registered Democrat. So although I'm a Republican, I'm running to be the mayor of a Democratic city. And of course, it makes a lot of sense that we would have groups of people, Democrats for David O. I think what happened is a lot of people registered Democrats because they like the ideology. They like the idealism. They like the idea of fair schools, good jobs, clean streets. They like the idea of compassion. They like to see crime go away with the gentlest of policies. They wish that they could talk to people out of murdering people. They'd like to talk to people out of being drug addicted. They'd like to do a lot of things, but unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. So I think what a lot of Democrats would like to see is the best of the Democratic ideology visible in their neighborhoods and communities. But if you look at it, look at the schools, how poorly the kids are performing, right, and how much problems there are, how unequal it is. It's not something new. It's been going on for decades, and yet election after election, promise after promise, nothing is really being done. Soda tax is a burden upon the poor, with the promise that the poor will get a brand new, fantastic community center, recreation center, and they'll get the jobs to build it. But that doesn't happen.
Right.
The same thing with crime. Where is the concern? Where is the fact that the government will treat the citizen respectfully, in accordance with the law, and at the same time answer their emergency call and protect them? They don't see that either. What about jobs? Where are those jobs? Affordable housing. Who's gentrifying this city? The same people who are talking all these nice things and great things are the very same people that are raising the property taxes, raising the cost of living, and telling, in particular, black people how to live. I think that those things are things that people are tired of. And it doesn't matter if they're black, white, Latino, Asian. People don't like a group of people telling other people how to live, what to think, what to do, and how to suit their needs. I think people like to be independent. And being independent, they want to see some results. And when the results have not been delivered time and time again, people want to change. And I represent that change. I represent the change that will hold this city accountable, that will hold this government accountable, because that's what I've been doing for the last 11 years. But I'm one vote out of 17, and I fight with the mayor. I war in city council with things like the property tax, which I say, and I say it's illegal and improper to overtax people, especially poor people, especially minorities, in particular African Americans. It is wrong that Department of Human Services, DHS, comes in and removes children 3, 4, 5 at a time from their mothers and their families and places them in bad conditions. I mean, it's great whenever you can save a child. It's great when you put them in a better condition, but so often those children are placed in worse conditions, but especially when they should not have been taken in the first place. Someone has to step in and do traumatic things.
Right.
And that's what I've done in council. But I have not been as effective as I like, and in many cases I haven't been effective at all because I cannot get things passed in city council. I cannot do things by myself. What happens if I want to see what happened to Philly fighting COVID, if I want to know what happened to the almost $200 million that the mayor got to fight COVID and where it went and where it didn't go, I have to introduce a bill or a resolution to hold a hearing. If it's defeated, nothing happens, and it's been defeated too many times.
Right. Can you break that part down? Because a lot of people, you know, they look at city council members like, well, you were on city council for 11 years or 8 years, and, you know, if you didn't do anything then, why should we vote for you for mayor? So can you break that down as far as your part of city council and, you know, the bills that, you know, some people might not know that you fought against that did get passed, and some of the bills that you wanted to not get passed that did get passed and stuff like that, as far as city council and why you do want to be the mayor of Philadelphia?
Yeah, so one of the things I did was I did a bill that when property taxes are increased very highly, that you can look at your property. You might get the help of some other people, and if you find that your property is being taxed higher than every other property that is just like yours, you can take that to city council. We can look at it, and you know, particularly, let's say I can look at it. And if I find that it does not fit and it's not fitting all over the city, what I would do is I'd introduce a resolution, because, again, I can't do it all by myself. I have to introduce a document to say we're going to hold a hearing to investigate the Office of Property Assessment. If it passes, then I can look at how the method of assessing property was done, and if it seems wrong, we can hire an independent auditor to examine the methodology, the way it was done. Right. But that bill failed, like it didn't have support. So, but the council president, he got an independent auditor to come in and look at the way that the Office of Property Assessments assesses, that means values, your property. And it came back that the way they do it is below industry standard. That means it's not above a C. It's like a D. And if it's a D, I say it doesn't count, because it should be above a C, right? It should be a B or an A. So I did a bill to reject all the increased property taxes that were suspect and overly high, and we can see them. There's two properties right next to each other. They're both valued at $110,000, and that's what they're assessed at. And then next year, the one is assessed at $109,000, so went down $1,000, and the other one is assessed at like $345,000. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. And now the person in that house cannot afford to pay the increase in taxes. So that should never happen. And the fact that it happens all over our city, but especially in our poorest, most violent, crime-ridden neighborhoods, that is just wrong. So I introduced a bill to reject it, and that bill was defeated. And I think it's important to know, because the reason people vote Democrat is because they believe that the person who's fighting for them, like I just described, would be a Democrat, and the person opposing it would be a Republican, but it's the opposite. I introduced the bill, it was defeated. I introduced the next bill, it was defeated. Same thing with, I did a bill to create a nonprofit fund. That means an organization of the city, but it doesn't run under city. It's created by the city, a nonprofit fund with no politicians running it, because I don't believe in politicians running things. I put retired teachers. They would be on the fund, and what they would do is they would review applications from teachers who purchased required school items out of their own pocket. And so let's say a teacher spent $1,500, $1,500 of their own money to buy things that are supposed to be in the classroom. Well, if there isn't a way for us to receive those receipts, we can't see that they actually spent money out of their pocket for things supposed to be in the classroom, then we have no record of it. So I, as a council person, I don't know that they spent this $1,500, but how many other teachers have been spending their own money, because the school is not accounting for it? So why, in the first place, why does this classroom in this school not have the things required by law? Wow. So there isn't a way to report it. If I find 5 teachers in the same school are paying out of their pocket, listen, they're not going to pay forever. They're going to pay for a while, then they're going to go get another job. Before we lose these teachers, before we lose the people who teach with the willingness to make those sacrifices, we should reimburse them and find out where the problem is. Because at every hearing that we have in City Council, when I ask the superintendent about shortages in funding under-resourced schools, the superintendent always says no such thing. Every school has everything they need, so you don't have a record.
Right.
So teachers, how would they get reimbursed? Well, there was $10 million in tobacco settlement money, and I didn't identify it at the time because I didn't want people to know what I was doing, because they would find the money and put it someplace else. So I wanted to create this fund, and I talked about funding the teachers, but the money would have come from tobacco settlement money that the city was going to lose if it didn't use it like within a year. Right. And by the way, that happens a lot. The city gets money, they're supposed to use it, it's like a grant, they don't do it and they lose the money. So I went to Harrisburg to say, can I use this money to reimburse school teachers? And the answer was yes. So I went about creating the nonprofit fund. It didn't have enough support, so it was tabled. So there's different ways to kill a bill. One is by voting against it. The problem is, if it's a good bill, you're on record voting against it. So the way politicians can get around that is, instead of voting against it, they move to table it, which means take it off of the consideration. That way they say, I didn't vote against it. No, but they got rid of the bill. Or they will say to me, for example, no one in our committee is going to vote for your bill. So do you want to withdraw it? And we could talk about it, and then we could maybe pass it later. When I was first on council, I used to believe that sometimes, so I would withdraw it. But I later found out that after they do that, they never consider it, so I stopped doing that.
Unbelievable. Well, listen, and I got a couple more minutes to go. Some people commenting about potholes, some people commenting about the violence. I just want you to take a couple of minutes before you get out of here, just to let people know, once you are elected mayor, what does the first, because we always hear people say, on my first day or first 100 days, what does the first, say, 100 days look like once you're the new mayor of Philadelphia?
Well, I will be preparing as I am now. I'm working with different people. For example, I am looking for a police commissioner. So when I start, the police commissioner will understand exactly what I want to do. We will enforce the law. We will not break the law. The police will be trained to be polite, courteous, and to treat people respectfully, especially if you're a resident. When they come up to your house because you called or there's problems, as you step out of your house, they will treat you like the citizen you are, not like a suspect or an enemy. That has to be trained. They have to be instructed. They have to be trained. First of all, I'm telling the police, do not step away from crime. Do not look the other way. Do not fail to respond to the people who call you. That will have consequences. But primarily, I want a police commissioner that the people respect from Philadelphia, who has a record of service that the police officers respect. We will be recruiting and retaining those police officers who want to help people at the risk of their own safety and their life. So we're going to start by enforcing the laws, because we must send a message to people however they are breaking it. There will be no more drug use in the subway system, no more carrying guns around, no more ATVs and dirt bikes riding through the street, blowing through red lights and harassing people. Kensington Avenue is a prime example of what's wrong with this city. And as I've said, we will enforce the law. That will cause a lot of the drug addicted people who are coming in from all of this region to stop coming to Kensington Avenue. Once they have stopped and we have cleaned it up and we are policing, we save not only the drug addicted, but the residents will be able to come out, and their children, and those young people that are wrapped up in the drug game, that are killing each other and going to jail, they will be saved. With the reduction of that level of volume, we can now start treating the people who need help with a level of quality care, which we cannot do right now. So I'm going to do a number of things. I'm going to take a deep look in making serious reform to the school districts and responsive to people. I said I will ask for the resignation of all school board members. I will try to put in a process where people can elect a number of school board members. Department of Human Services, I want to reform that. People should not be afraid of DHS. DHS should be welcome because they're here to help your family, help your children, bring after school activities, bring a lot of the things, the money, resources that people need. We need jobs. So I'm going to do the tax reforms. I'm going to try to get rid of those burdens and taxes that don't produce anything like the soda tax. Now, we will have pre-K. I tell people you don't need a soda tax to pay for pre-K. We can pay for that.
Right.
But if we don't get our economy back, people won't have jobs and things will be bad.
There you have it. Well, listen, I wanted to ask you about the ski mask, but I don't have that much time left. I know we talked about the ski mask already, but just can you give me about 30 seconds, 45 seconds on the ski mask in case people didn't hear the interview that we did? Because a lot of people commented about the ski mask on the live.
Yeah, so I'd like to hear from the people, particularly at the most suspect times, like in the middle of July at the 12 o'clock at night. However, there has to be legislation. There's some things I could do by executive order, but I have to do it lawfully, and I will.
Y'all hear it? There you have it. Anything else you want to say to the people before you go?
Yeah, very much. One is this election isn't over on May 16th. That's just the primary. We will go to November 7th. That is a good thing because you need more of the 90-second answers. You need to better understand what people are saying and what they're talking about and when they're not telling the truth. That is the process we'll go through up to Tuesday, November 7th, when we truly elect the mayor of Philadelphia.
Yep, there you go. David O is the way to go, May 16th and November 7th. So I'll get David O back on to speak about, his plans for the future once the election is over on the 16th and we can get down to business and get ready for November 7th. So I appreciate you calling in, David O. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Thanks for having me on.
No doubt. David O for mayor. Y'all heard it.